I am Douglas Shaw, and this is the Vittoria Corsa N.Ext. Very interesting tyre. The N.Ext basically stands for nylon sidewall. Tread profile on it and the build of this tyre is a high performance, fast road racing tyre.
Yeah.
Something that I'd be reaching to put on my bike if I do loads of chain gang style riding. I want a tyre that is maybe a little bit more durable than a cotton casing.
Correct.
But it sits parallel with all of the top performing road tyres on the market.
Exactly that.
At a price point in the UK of
£70 for the tubeless version.
Yeah.
And £60 for the clincher.
So £70 for the tubeless version. So tubeless is in hookless.
Correct.
And also traditional tubeless.
Exactly.
If I bought that tubeless ready version and I put an inner tube in there, that's still fine, right?
You could use it, but obviously you are going to compromise on the weight. So
Right.
if you're that type of customer who still wants to run inner tube, we are seeing at this price point and above now, very much the driving factor behind that is going to be weight saving. Because even with the best will in the world, you know, a tubeless tyre compared to the same tyre in a non-tubeless construction, the tubeless version will always be heavier.
Yeah.
And straight away you're making that casing airtight, and that will add a bit of weight.
Yeah.
So if you are a customer who is absolutely after weight saving,
Yep.
I would probably argue at the moment your lightest option would be a clincher only tyre with something like a TP or a latex inner tube.
With the Corsa N.Ext, you have like the two options of style, if you like. You can go tubeless with a little bit of weight penalty, with respect to weight penalty being, obviously they have to make it tubeless compatible, right? So it has to be airtight, you said, and also the kind of almost like that side bead, if you like, of the tyre adds a little bit of weight. Is that correct?
It does, yeah. I mean, on a tubeless road tyre, you'll find that obviously the bead is a little bit tighter compared to a clincher tyre, because it needs to be tight to adhere to the rim correctly, because it's not relying on your inner tube pushing the bead into your rim walls.
Yeah.
So that in itself obviously makes it a bit tighter, and you could probably argue in some cases it'll add a little bit of material, but it's really the casing construction itself is where that extra weight is. I mean, it does obviously come down to what inner tube you're running. If you're running a heavy, butyl inner tube, you're going to negate all the weight savings, and of course,
but it's also cheaper, right?
Exactly, but you're not going to be able to run it at the same pressure that you'd run on tubeless. So that's why we really are offering at that price point, like in the Rubino Pro family below the Corsa N.Ext, the option to go for a clincher version and a tubeless version, because at this price point there's still very much a split, I'd say, between some people still wanting to run in tube and some people going TLR. Where above this level in pro racing we are absolutely seeing a move towards tubeless across the board. There aren't many pro teams I can think of now that still use inner tubes.
Coming away to like the core features really of the tyre.
Yeah.
Like what about weight? What are we seeing here?
TLR version was 300 grams.
Yeah.
And a 28.
Yeah.
And then the clincher version of that is 90 grams lighter.
90 grams lighter and a 28.
Correct.
Really, you could go for Vittoria's lightest road setup with the tubed version of this tyre.
Exactly.
And obviously, of course, with ideally you'd be looking to run like a
latex or TPU.
Which Vittoria also do, I think. Do they do a latex tube?
We do, yeah.
And the TPU tyre?
Yeah, we got you covered on butyl, latex and TPU.
You've got all three.
Exactly, yeah. So you could argue definitely, if you consider that 90 grams weight saving in, say, a 28, if you combine that with the weight of a TPU inner tube, which the one we produce is 30 grams, that's a very light setup.
Any sort of introduction of tubeless, I don't think a lot of people are aware of this, even though it's obvious. You need to reinforce the tyre, you need to make it airtight, so then it adds in quite a substantial amount of weight.
That's it. And the weight of your sealant, which is normally 40 to 50 millilitres for a road tyre, you could probably add the tubeless valve to that overall weight as well. When we compare the Corsa N.Ext to, for instance, a Corsa Pro Speed, that is obviously going to be a lighter tyre, but bearing in mind that is an out-and-out time trial. But it's also a tubeless race-specific tyre. When we're talking general tyres, so in case of Corsa N.Ext versus Corsa versus Rubino Pro, the Corsa N.Ext in the tubed version, you're absolutely right, will be the lightest option we give.
Right. Okay, so Corsa N.Ext in tubed, the lightest tyre. Corsa N.Ext tubeless is heavier than the Corsa Pro Speed.
Absolutely.
So this tyre, let's just go through another few things. So compound?
It's a single rubber compound, so we don't have to be fancy with it now because we've got the graphene and the silica in the rubber mix.
So it's a 2-in-1.
Exactly. You get the kind of durability and the rolling speed from the graphene, but you get the wet grip, especially from the silica.
So the tread grooves, they're just there to just add to the adhesion of the road when the tyre's banked over, but all of this is the same compound.
Exactly.
And it's the same compound further deep, if you like, into the tyre.
Yes, exactly that, yeah.
And let's look at the cross section. So tread thickness in the central patch with the Kevlar reinforcement. Still, it's not a thick tyre. It's a 3mm thick tread. It's thin, it's fast, it's roadworthy. It's a fast rolling nylon carcass, if you like. Capable of racing tyre.
Exactly.
A little bit of puncture resistance. Plenty grip, nice compound. Widths available from
26 all the way up to 32 32, and that's
in the 2 mil increments.
correct.
The whole
Exactly, 26, 28, 30, 32. Where the Corsa N.Ext fits into our range is if you compare us to the competition, who, like I might have mentioned before, all make top-end nylon tyres. We feel that the Corsa N.Ext is more in line with those, and then your cotton construction Corsa Pros will sit above that.
Okay.
So if you want a lot of boxes ticked, you want something that rolls fast, pretty puncture-proof, durable, just an all-round tyre, the Corsa N.Ext is a good option for that.